Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. Myself, Jake Storielli, Big Baby David producing a little MLB free agency over under some of the projections. I'm going to go off our guy, Kiley McDaniel. I shouldn't say he's our guy. I'd like him to be. We know Jeff Passan. He likes Kiley. It's like a friend of a friend at this point. I replied to some of his tweets before when he was just like the scouting guy.
Maybe our goal for 2025 is make Kiley McDaniel our guy. New
goal. It's good to set goals for the year. So we'll go through some of the big boys, go through the projection, talk it out a little bit for some of the top free agencies, and then a little football weekend preview on the back end. So let's just get into it. Why not? High and tight today. Big die for the country. And why don't we start off with the big guy? Juan Soto for clicks. It's here, people. It's happening. Jeff Passan. The first man on the list is Juan Soto, outfielder, former team New York Yankees. Just kind of interesting to see. By WAR, Juan Soto did have his best year last season, which he's had a lot of good years. But a reminder that his opening day age of 26 is when a lot of guys get their big league opportunity, really. That Juan Soto may be peaking right now. So, with all of that, you know he's going to be the top of the class. We're seeing Yankees fans with blank checks at the stadium, crossing them out, $600 million, $700 million. For Juan Soto, obviously, the years make things very interesting. For Juan Soto, any of the deferred money. I don't have Juan Soto playing the deferred money game. Why? I don't think that's any of his business. I mean, unless it just becomes the new trend. But I don't have a reason to believe it's going to become the new trend.
Yeah, I mean, there's been obviously guys with deferred money before. Shohei didn't invent that. But
yes.
Like on the scale of what Ohtani did, straight up, like you just won't see again.
Yeah, we think that was a 1 of 1 for Mr. 1 of 1. How about that? Art. But for this, and man, this is Kiley, so I didn't even know he did this. He collected predictions along the way in June and August. So these aren't just Kiley McDaniel guessing. This is Kiley McDaniel getting opinions from people inside the industry. The Juan Soto projected contract that they have brought to the table is 13 years, $611 million. So that kind of has been what the rumor is, right? And again, it's the formula of how good are you, how well are you going to age, and what age are you at now? So Soto hitting it 26. I don't know if this is surprising people, but these are my honest thoughts. And again, these could be very wrong. 13 years, $611 million. That comes out to $47 million a year. I would take the under. I'm a little bit surprised by that $47 million number. That feels slightly high. Because that would be the record.
Yes,
easily.
Kiley expanded below, basically saying like, the reason he thinks it's this number is that beats Shohei Ohtani's like present day value number, because technically Ohtani's contract obviously complicated as we've said, but technically he's 46 a year and change. So 47 gets him to beating that number, and people think that's what his aim is.
I could see the agent caring about that. I don't see Soto caring about that. I guess for me, Juan Soto and Shohei are still different free agencies, and I mean, well, hey, welcome to the show. Subscribe. Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani are different. Subscribe. Juan Soto, we already have questions about his defense. It's been part of the Yankees offseason, is that hey, he is not calling him an average defender in the smallest right field in baseball. That would be the highest of compliments you could give Soto. He is not a plus defender. I think you could say he's close to average. If not anything, below average is probably fair. He doesn't get to a lot of plus balls, if any. I think that was the number we looked at. His arm is solid, but I don't see him becoming a better defender. Like we heard the story this offseason was he heard about his defense. He put in some work. And again, he looked close to average. Like that's the best scouting report I could give you on Juan Soto's defense. And in a way, that's magnifique because the guy racked up like 8 WAR this year. And he's one of the best hitters we've ever seen. We talked about on Talking Baseball a little bit today. If you had one at bat and you needed something, anything, like you'd probably take Soto over Judge. You'd take Soto. We kind of came down to Soto, Yordan, and like Freddie Freeman. Like that's a pretty good crop to be with. That basically the best hitter in the world is available at age 26. And obviously there's a price tag to that. But Shohei was getting paid to hit, to run, to pitch, just a reminder. And I think monetarily, A, the $700 million was insane because of the deferred money. And B, this guy was bringing in a whole country as a market. And hey, Juan Soto, well, the Dominican Republic, sure. Fuck it, we ball. But Japan's a different animal. They're baseball obsessed. A lot of people. We're already seeing the ripple effect. Roki Sasaki is listed in this article, which has started to scare me, as I admitted to BBD today. Because if Roki Sasaki comes over and he has to get paid not a real salary because he's not old enough yet, and he signs with the Dodgers, I'm worried. I'm worried that Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Sasaki are signing with the Dodgers, and that every good Japanese player that comes over is going to want to sign with the Dodgers. And that was part of their game plan when they signed Ohtani. They admitted that. Anyways, Juan Soto's going to get paid. I don't know where the years are going to land at. I don't know if he wants years. I don't know if 15, 13, 12. I don't know if he's going to want one of those things with an option because, say, that Bobby Witt Jr. contract. Remember when that came out, that Bobby Witt got a 12-year deal or whatever, but he can opt out at year 7 or year 8. Maybe Juan Soto wants that. Maybe Juan Soto wants the opportunity to opt out at age 33 because if he's still Juan Soto peak of his powers, the money numbers are going to have shuffled so much that he could probably bring in another A-Rod-sized, well, what was A-Rod-sized bag at the time in his second contract. Juan Soto might be able to do that. So, I don't know, between the defensive concerns and the different ways Juan Soto can potentially play this contract, I'm actually going to take the under. The defensive stuff is weird. Yankee fans, what we're talking about is if Juan Soto comes back, can they give him a first base glove? So now you're talking about Juan Soto learning a different position. I know we just saw Bryce Harper do it. We don't know if Soto's up for it. And if he's not, for me, it's not shots fired. For me, that's not a Juan Soto problem. There's many teams that would love to throw Juan Soto in a corner outfield spot for the next 8 years and then slide him over to DH, and that's that. Juan Soto, left field at Fenway, left field in Houston, right field at the stadium. You can make that work for how good he is offensively. That Dodgers outfield is pretty big. I know they're rumored to get in the mix. I think if Juan Soto gets to this length, the 13 years, the 15 years, I think that AAV is going to be down. And I guess the more I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some creativity in there. All the weirdness that just happened with the Cole contract. Juan Soto might be able to cash out in his early 30s and do this whole thing again the right way. That I don't know. Maybe not doing this as the hot take or the clip, and I kind of hope it's not. But because I want Juan Soto to get as much money as he can. I do support the players on that. The owners have the money. But yeah, I would just take the under. I guess I'm thinking of the big contracts in recent years Whether it's Trout, Machado, Harper. Again, I do think Soto's in a different level. But at the same time, a lot of those guys were like plus defenders. Like, Machado plus defender. Trout still covered ground out there. That I don't know. Something about it just doesn't pass the sniff test for me. And Ohtani, that 700 is so bizarre that I think we need to get that out of our heads because so much of it is deferred.
Yeah, it's like and we'll see how the conversations evolve over the next 2 months. But Ohtani's such an outlier. Like, I can't be the standard. And Soto himself is going to be an outlier too. But
didn't get a $700 million contract. Like, unless you have Juan Soto deferring money for a decade, then I think we could start getting in that area. But I think Juan Soto wants to get paid now and has no reason to not. So yeah, because remember the original Ohtani free agency, what was the debate? It was if he'd get 500,
will he get to 5?
And then he deferred it for a decade, so he got 700.
Because what we're just saying here is, like, technically by present day value, what he got is 10 for $460.
Right. So Juan Soto, who doesn't pitch, the defense has its question marks, which are all covered up by generational hitting. I think the number is probably between 500 and 600, depending how you lay out the years and whatever he cares about. Does he care about AAV? Does he care about the years on the back end? Will an opt-out be a cool thing? So, yeah, I think part of the reason I want to do this, not as clickbait, but as an exercise, I think I would take the under on that. And again, we're going to reach out and befriend Kiley McDaniel this year, so we'll see. By the way, they list the number 2 free agent as Roki Sasaki. That would be $5 million signing bonus and a minor league deal. So, me and the Dodger fans, we've been doing a lot of making up. The comments were actually really cool last episode. A lot of friendly Dodger fans in there. If they get Roki Sasaki to a minor league deal, Pop's not going to be good. It's going to be a bad week for me.
I kind of hate you now.
God, man, to get Shohei on the books for $2 million a year, and then Yamamoto, and then Roki Sasaki. That Japan team won the WBC. Just a reminder.
Sasaki on literally a minor league deal.
Now, if he signs with the Yankees, it's good for baseball. Anyways, not doing that.
Got him.
Listed as the number 3 free agent is friend of the program, Corbin Burnes, who has hit free agency, nearly the peak of his powers. He is 30 years old. The projected contract they have him for is 7 years, $225 million. His stuff grades out still. His cutter comes in at 95, sinker at 97. There was a declining strikeout rate, but they openly talked, him and the Orioles, about how that was part of the plan. I think it's kind of one of these baseball pitching evolutions is early contact can be good as long as it's in the park. If you can get that early contact and have quick innings, you get more innings, you save your bullpen, you help your ace. We've seen pitchers do this, and I think that was part of what Corbin Burnes was doing, except towards the end of the season when his cutter started cutting more. I think he was trying to punch more tickets. 7 for $225. Man, it's funny to look back. He lists a couple of the deals. Steven Strasburg got $245 million. That also had a bunch of deferrals in it. That was one of the Nationals party tricks for a while. That mark, Burnes would be the 3rd biggest pitcher guarantee behind Garrett Cole and Yamamoto. It's interesting to think about. If you just had it listed as Garrett Cole, you might be like, that's kind of interesting. Is Corbin Burnes truly in that light? He's got the 1 Cy Young. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's $32.1 million AAV. For Corbin, I would take the over. And I don't know if it comes with more years or more AAV, but he is still near the peak of his powers, and he's 30 years old. I guess what I can't shake in my head is some of those bigger AAVs for Scherzer and Verlander. They actually didn't pan out the best. I mean, those guys were older and banged up. That to get those first 4 or 5 years out of Corbin Burnes, and you never know with the injuries and how are they going to develop as a crafty pitcher. And Corbin Burnes' pitch mix has changed even in recent years. I think he's as close to a safe bet as you can find in a free agent pitcher. And I think he's either going to clear that AAV easily or he's going to get the years easily because he's coming into this position really strongly over the past couple of years.
Really strongly positioned, and looking at his injury history, because I was trying to think about, like, does he have anything? I don't recall anything. He had, like, a shoulder thing in 2019, and that's the last arm-related thing. Like, not to say that other injuries can't matter, but the arm is just in good shape.
Well,
as far as, any pitcher's arm can be.
He's got
this many years into a career.
He has a pretty natural pitching motion. He's a big guy. What's Corbin Burnes listed at? I'm going 6'4", 230. Let's see. Going to Baseball Reference. 6'3", 245. Okay. There's meat on that bone with Corbin. We like that. 4-time All-Star. I know that kind of doesn't matter as much anymore, but
that's a big number.
I mean, this guy's sounds kind of rude. This guy's a Cy Young award away from us having like some serious Corbin Burnes combos.
Mm-hmm.
The Hall of Fame and innings pitched. Like we're gonna have to have an evolution at some point. That I don't know.
Another Cy Young, get a couple deep playoff runs in you on your resume.
Corbin Burnes lands with 2 Cy Youngs and like 7 All-Star games. What's the Hall of Fame for? Let's see. I'll take the over on Corbin Burnes. Next on the table, they have your number 4 free agent listed as Willy Adames. Willy Adames will be 29 years old come opening day 2025. The projected contract is 7 years, $189 million. That's a $27 million AAV. So, some of the player comps here. Marcus Semien, 7 years, $175. Okay, that's interesting. What do you believe in? Marcus Semien had some big boy seasons in there. Also did not, but defensively and work ethic. Actually, I'd say Marcus Semien and Willy Adames are equally well respected from everything we know. Work ethic guys, clubhouse guys, just well liked in general. The defense will travel, whether how long Willy Adames can stay at short. Don't be surprised if he can play third base or second base, which reportedly some teams are already looking into because there's only one third baseman in the free agent market listed as your number 5 free agent, and Alex Bregman. Man, I was on a big shortstops don't become free agents, especially if they're good, until the 2022-2023 free agent class that included Correa, Trey Turner, Dansby Swanson, and Xander Bogaerts. Man, that one was pretty crazy, huh? And I guess out of that crew, Xander had so many hits and the Padres were paying everyone that contract kind of became the outlier. Trey Turner, I think at this point in career had outperformed Willy Adames a bit. And then Dansby Swanson, who was the gold glover that everyone was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to stay at short. He's done a fine job at that. People were more scared about Dansby's bat, which, a lot of his early hitting numbers in his career should I say the word buoy him down a little bit? Don't know if that's right. Where from 2020 through 2022, Dansby Swanson was a plus hitter. But again, some of those early numbers scared people off. That Willy Adames, ever since he came over from the Rays, where he openly admitted that he couldn't see in the Trop. Remember that one? And even with one of his seasons in the Trop, Willy Adames has a career 109 OPS plus. if you take out some of those early Ray stuff, I guess it's a 112 OPS plus, so it doesn't jump up a lot. But Dansby Swanson, he ended up getting 7 years, 177. So that's prior to 2023. I think you're looking at similar guys there. I think Willie has a better case than Dansby. I think being the only shortstop will end up helping out Willy Adames, where these other teams were doing the dance of, there's 4 quality shortstops out there, which never happens. Give me the over. I think for people in baseball circles, hearing that Willy Adames can end up near, a $200 million range, it's pretty wild. But I think when you see Semien and Dansby, I think Semien had more potential to pop off. Dansby was kind of known, and that's where he got his money. It was like, hey, he's going to play defense, and he's going to be a slightly above average bat. Marcus Semien, there is pop potential. He's stealing bases. He could lead the league in hits or runs. He's going to play every day, play great defense.
He went into that free agency with 2 top 3 MVP years. He had that kind of ceiling on him and a fairly safe base.
That I think it's fair to say that Willy Adames, being the only shortstop, I have him clearing that. So I will take the over on Slick Willie, which brings us to Breggy Smalls, which Breggy's got one of those tight swings. Kind of reminds me of a nice blitzball battle swing. Hey, why don't you check out what's coming up in the next Blitzball Battle game right here.
Blitzball Battle 5 getting y'all set for game number 2 between Forgotten Rotten and Del Caribe. This is a fascinating matchup, right? You've got a 2-time former champion, Trevor Plouffe. Then he's got Shelfie. And Del Caribe, we know all about Lou Dab. He can get it done. The question is, can Joe's throw any strikes?
That is the number one question. We know what we're going to get from Lou. Trevor's going to tell us what we're going to get from Trevor throughout the whole game. It's about the other guys.
So what do you think?
And Shelfie's background, he's played in the Blitzball World Series 3 different times. He feels really confident. My prediction here is going to be Forgotten Rotten. I'm not even thinking about this one.
It's tough for me to go against Trevor Plouffe. I think they're going to win.
Also, Trev needed somewhere to put his chain.
So you stole it?
This is my baby gift from Trev. Not on the registry, but I accept.
Okay, so you two made your prediction. I'm going with Forgotten Rotten.
Yeah.
Del Caribe they didn't win a game in Blitzball Battle 4.
You're in my heart, guys.
Yeah, they've never beaten Forgotten Rotten in anything. But you'll have to tune in and see for yourself later today. Blitzball Battle 5.
Wow. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our Warehouse Games channel. If you haven't watched live while the live chat is going, it truly is something to watch. So I must recommend you to go check that out. And go check out Alex Bregman. And honestly, the conversation here, and me and Trev did this on Talking Baseball, and our future friend, Kiley McDaniel, has it in the article. Who gets more money, Alex Bregman or Willy Adames? Alex Bregman, you know him. He was the face of the Astros for a brief period of time there. Obviously, that whole saga, he started out his free agent year kind of down, and would he turn it around, and are the Astros dead? Nope. He ends up having a 4-WAR season. He won the Gold Glove at third base. OPS plus lands at 118, which is, down from his 132 career OPS plus. Alex Bregman, he does have his juiciest year in 2019, which those balls had a little juice to them. That seems to be the outlier. Even if you do it from 2022, Alex Bregman, he's been a 261, 350 on base, a 795 OPS, which again, I don't know. When you hear those numbers that Alex Bregman hasn't been an 800 OPS guy over the past 4 years, I think that changes your scope on him a little bit. Like when Alex Bregman was getting hot, especially in that 2019 season, he racked up 9 WAR. He led the league in walks. He won dotted. That year, which the year before that, he had a 926 OPS. He's clearly been a different level of baseball player since then, but still a high-quality baseball player. And, this is someone, sometimes we're like, the owner kind of knowing a guy matters. And And I think an owner hearing like, hey, we're in on Bregman, I think the owner might give the extra year, the extra stamp of approval on that. Because that's going to be someone that your fan base will eventually rally around. If you're still doing Astros banging stuff, no time for that. Bregman, if you don't follow him on social media, he's a pretty likable guy. Almost 40 career WAR. So, if he can stay, maintain, or even pick it up a little bit, you're looking at a guy with a potential like Hall of Fame resume. That being said, I think, and again, I'm just playing the numbers here. I guess what I'm saying is I would take the under on Bregman's number. What I mentioned with Willy Adames, shortstop, that's more unique. Like shortstop, you can move to third easily, and I think, again, he's going to get some interest that way. Willy Adames on opening day is going to be 29. Alex Bregman on opening day is going to be 31. That's huge. That's the difference. That's free agency. As someone feeling the effects of Father Time more and more, 35 years old, don't let the beard fool you. I just think that's going to be your difference maker. Like, they have Alex Bregman getting 1 year less than Willy Adames and getting $187 million. Again, this is not shots fired at Bregman at all. As they list in the article, he hasn't topped 26 homers since 2019. So he plays a good hot corner. He is a threat. A reminder, his home stadium is pretty good for a righty pull hitter. That's something that has to be taken into consideration. I would go the under there. And maybe I'm just doing an every other thing. Again, he is the only third baseman, so maybe that's the only caveat that's going to clip me up. If there is a bidding war between the Washington Nationals are a sneaky Bregman team. People are wondering if Detroit gets involved because they've got Hinch there and the baby Tigers. I don't think they are. They're still tied up in that Javi deal for a couple years. That for the Detroit Tigers to have, I don't know, $55 million a year tied into their shortstop and third baseman, and that shortstop isn't playing. I don't know. That just feels bad for Tigers fans.
I am with what we've been saying about like they should be in on somebody and look to make another big addition probably, but they're telling themselves they have to be like very sure about who that guy's gonna be.
Whoever they bring in, and hey, Bregman in a way is a guarantee
very high floor
for WAR, playing defense, hitting enough. I do wonder how it would look. Home stadium being Detroit instead of Houston. That's a dome. That's a short left field instead of a big outfield. I can get to Bregman's spray chart pretty quickly. But, it's something these teams have to think about. I just think for Detroit to have that much money invested in the left side, he is heavy pull. Bregman's still going to get paid. And, this is his big contract. So I could see the years being more important than the AAV. Hey, we also said on Talking Baseball the other day, Bregman has the vibe of a Justin Turner that could be playing until the end. So maybe he goes a 5-year juicy one. I'm going to try to sneak under the under there, especially when it's just compared side by side with Willie. I think I'm stamping that a team will believe in Willie's value just a little more. From there, we can start to do a little more rapido fire. So we got some of the pitchers. Oh, Pete the Meat. I'll do Pete just because I said his name. I skipped Max Fried, so remind me not to unskip that. Pistol Pete Alonso will be 30 on opening day. He is projected to get 6 years, $159 million. That is $26.5 million per year AAV. Again, I will be kind of, well, let's see. When Freddie Freeman hit free agency, he got 6 for $162. When Paul Goldschmidt hit free agency, it was 5 for $130. So again, if you start doing the multiples of that, and supposedly Pete Alonso turned down 7 for $158. And he made $20.5 million last season. I've been bullish on Alonso, and the phrase I keep coming back to, and it's me trying to get in the shoes of these guys who are running front offices and teams. Pete Alonso's do not become free agents a lot. He is a lock for about 34 homers, which that's what he hit this year, and it was kind of a down year for Pete. So, hey, maybe there's advanced analytics on Pete because, like I said with Bregman, some of Pete's big years are a couple years earlier. But that power's not going to leave. Like, even if the contact leaves Pete a little bit, he's still going to have that pop. He's got the scoops at first. He was the best scoops first baseman. And, again, I think being a DH could be potentially a positive thing for him or a team if you need that. And if you do need him at first base for a few years, like I think you're fine with that. Pete does enough. He puts in good effort over there. He's picking balls. The year gets interesting. So 6 years, $26.5 million. I feel like I've been just doing an every other thing, but I'm going to go over. I think Pete gets paid, man. That's like we were talking about floor when it comes to Bregman and Adames. Pete Alonso, his worst homer year in a not full season was 34 last year. His OPS plus, even though his other numbers look down, is the same as the year before. It was 123. He's a career 134 OPS plus average. I just think where baseball is at, and I continue to preach this, you can find pitching. Look how the Dodgers just got through the postseason. Obviously, it's high-end bullpen, but you can find those guys. Alex Vesia, like this isn't shots fired, but it's just these are very solid lefties. Vesia and Banda were their lefties that got them through 2 innings of each playoff game they needed to win, basically. You can't find Pete Alonso's like that. You can't call up a guy from AAA and be like, hey, this is your matchup. You're going to be our 35 homer a year guy. I think there's going to be a couple front offices that start salivating about adding Pete's power to the middle of their lineup. That I think the market's going to be there. I think he saved his season towards the end. And you know what else he did? He played 162 this year. And he balled out in the playoffs. And he plays almost every game every year. God, his games played is very impressive. I know I've done this before. And the second number is the 2020 season. 161 games played his rookie year. 57 out of 60. 152, 160, 154, 162. Has Pete never been on the IL?
Maybe not.
I'm going to get research on that. I mean, there's something to that. There's something to that. Give me the over on Pete. So much for me going rapid fire. Max Fried, projected 6 years, 175. They're comparing that.
Got hit in the hand, sprained his wrist in 21.
Damn.
Only IL stint.
Damn. So how many games? In 21? He still played 152 games, so he missed.
A 10-dayer. Is that before? Oh, because position players can still be just a 10-dayer.
Yeah, I guess so. So he just missed those 10 games. That's insane. It's insane.
Huh.
Max Fried, I like him, and I need to buck the trend. Carlos Rodon got 6 years, $162 million in 2023. Aaron Nola got 7 for $172. They have Max for 6 for $175. I'm going to go over / I'm going to put it on green and say they just nail it. Why not get one right? But I would lean over. I mean, Rodon, I know Rodon was dominant strikeout-wise, but his injury history was daunting. I know Max Fried had a couple nicks here and there, but you can butterknife some of Max Fried's numbers that he has been a top 3 left-handed pitcher in the league since he's been around. And, dude, for him, this felt like a down year for Max Fried. It was 174 innings to a 3.25 ERA. He has a career 3.07. Max Fried's been incredible. Let's see if I can even butterknife it even better. In 112 starts since 2020, Max Fried has a 2.81 ERA. Max Fried's nasty. So give me the over on that. Easy. Blake Snell projected 4 years, 124. More rapid fire. You guys know the Blake Snell free agency situation from last year. And whatever. He's 32 now. Are the Giants in on him? Is someone in on him? You know what? I'll go under just because Snell's free agencies have been so weird. And it's not shots fired. I love Snell. I keep pushing for Snell. I mean, he might just enter this new world of just get a new contract every year or two.
Get something funky that has some opt-outs available to you. Outpitch that.
If people keep doubting you, just do it and opt out and ball again. Like I don't know. I feel bad to my guy for Snell, who probably would love a forever home, would love the team offering him the 6-year deal that he's saying, hey, I've been the best lefty. Don't mind Max Fried over there. I don't know, man. I just think we've seen him hit free agency. I know there's a little bit of Boris stuff, but there's obviously a little bit of Snell stuff in there. And it's just his approach to pitching. Nothing about him as a person, nothing on the returns of his performance. It's just he goes about it a little differently. He was nails down the stretch. I think him and whatever team does it this year, they might be stoked to do, hey, here's $40 million a year. Let's do it for 2 years. Or maybe you get an opt-out again after the first. Or maybe it's Cody Bellinger style, that it's 3 years and you get 2 opt-outs. Like, I don't know. The Snell free agencies have just been weird. I'm rooting for him to find a forever home. And I keep saying that like he's a homeless dog, so I need to stop saying that.
Passing.
Oh.
Catcher Austin Hedges and the Cleveland Guardians have a deal. So
it's incredible. That's incredible.
Good job for our guy.
The other breaking news we missed, Kyle Hendricks to the Angels.
Yeah.
So that should solve their pitching problems. Let's see. Again, I'll start doing more rapid fire. Anthony Santander, 3 years, $69 million. Give me the over. I've had Toronto overpaying for him for a little while now. I know the WAR doesn't love him, but know what teams love? 44 switch-hitting home runs. Toronto or somewhere. Maybe the Orioles even just pony up. $69 million for Anthony Santander? No. No way. No way, Pop. Teoscar Hernandez. Similar boat. Santander is 2 years younger. They have Teoscar at 3 years, $66 million. Again, he made 23.5 last year, but that was 1 year. Teoscar, give me the over. I'll say forever home again. I think Teoscar wants that, and I think LA might be the team with him. That they might say, hey, dude, here's 4 years. We like you. Maybe they even bring that AAV down a little bit. But if it came out 4 years for 80 for Teoscar, does anyone blink? I wouldn't. Let's see. Is there anyone else I'm super interested in? All right, let me wrap up with these two guys. Because, man, there's a lot I don't know. Everything. This whole game's a guessing game. You tell me. You guys go look at Kiley's article. If there's any that stick out that you're like, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. Christian Walker, Arizona Diamondbacks. Very important. Pete Alonso's free agency. It was a fun conversation with Trev that teams are probably going to go to Christian Walker first because there's an argument he's better defensively and offensively, if not all around. He easily has that argument right now. He is older. He's 34 years old. They have him projected for 3 years, $57 million. I think I found my over range of the program. I'm going to go over there because Jose Abreu got 3 years, $58.5 going into his age 36 season. Again, that was an Astros weird one, and we all kind of opened up our eyes, but all it takes is one team. And I don't know if that's the Mets. I don't know who it is. Christian Walker is going to have a big market. Looks like Edwin Encarnacion got 3 years, $60 million at age 34. And I think Christian Walker's doing more on both sides of the ball that I'm going over there.
And he inflated a little bit since then.
The other one, well, I'm going to do this one high and tight and be a little rude. Gleyber Torres, 3 years, $52.5 million. I'm going to go under. Yankees didn't extend a qualifying offer, which, again, that probably helps Gleyber's free agency, but I think there's also a reason behind that. Gleyber's year on the whole did not grade out well. He is 28, And I do think a team's going to take a chance on him. It depends what Gleyber wants. Does he think he can rehab to get himself up? But I don't see a team going 3 years, 52.5, and I don't think Gleyber's happy with that. Like, again, get in the head of Gleyber Torres. This guy was an all-star really young, many-time all-star, coming off one of his worst seasons of recent, at least. Not the shortstop year. We don't talk about that.
Where he did finish it strong, so he feels like he's in a good place as a player.
Yeah,
the stats just don't reflect who he is.
I think Gleyber,
if you're him, that's how you feel.
Again, maybe he takes one of those Cody Bellinger types with a couple opt-outs if he can, if a team wants that. I see him going 2 years somewhere. Here's 2 years. Here's 17 mil. Let's cook. He could still hit free agency at 30 again. Like I think Gleyber wants that, which has me taking the under on 3 years, 52.5. My last one, just because I keep forgetting this guy's a free agent, Shane Bieber.
Wow.
Right? Shane Bieber. He's 29 as of opening day. He had Tommy John surgery in April. Typical Tommy John timeline is about 14 months, and you need a little more juice after that. So hey, you're a team willing to pay Shane Bieber. If you're playing a safe estimate, he comes back around the trade deadline. Who knows what you get for Shane Bieber the rest of next year? But then you have Shane Bieber, which is telling me he's going to at least get a 2-year deal. They have him getting 3 for $54. I'm going to hit you with one more over. I think a team talks themselves into Shane Bieber. I mean, look at the Giants traded for Robbie Ray as he was coming off of Tommy John, and he was owed more money than this.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously very different pitchers, never mind lefty-righty and the strikeout stuff and all that, but
Yeah, his can, if it's under, it's because of a structural thing where, like, he's doing, like, only 2 years and whatever to re-up. And even that can get you close to that number if you're going to take a chance on the 1.5 years of Shane Bieber that you get.
Yeah, I
overpay.
I don't know.
This number just feels like not where it lands.
It would be Shane Bieber saying, I just want to do 1 or 2 years, which he could do. It's his free agency, and he'd have to really be betting on himself. I think a team's going to be like, we're in on you, Shane. It's, Tommy John surgery happens now. If we could get you at if Shane Bieber hit free agency right, we're talking about those 30, 35 million a year. I don't know, man. I think if someone throws 22 at him for 3 years, I think if you're Shane Bieber, you're pretty interested in that because you could still hit free agent right.
Yeah, I mean, in this year that he was 29 years old and going to hit free agency again at the end of the year, obviously it's only 2 starts, but the first 2 starts of this year, he was absolutely balling out.
Shane Bieber.
Like, I think he thinks he in his head, you have to believe he has the motivation to go get the big deal in a year or two because he can absolutely play at that level. Has a Cy Young.
He, whatever team gets him will be very happy this postseason. There's some other big ones. I'm gonna leave Walker and a couple other guys. We could do this game all day, which would be nice. Tyler O'Neill, but we won't. You tell me who you got, who we're missing, or maybe an over/under for the article. I skipped Kikuchi. I'm sorry. I don't know. I skipped Pivetta, Severino. There's a lot of guys out there. Ha-Sung Kim was next. 2 years, 42.5. Give me the over. Someone will believe. Is that just my line for everyone? Let's preview the football weekend because it's a fun one. Germany game. Before we get there, it's Bengals-Ravens on Thursday night. The Cincinnati Bengals that I had mentally, they've hurt me too much. They're 4-5. They're 3-1 on the road. They're playing a Ravens team that they should have beaten in overtime. McPherson had a kick. They actually messed up the snap in overtime, and that the Ravens ended up winning that game. The Ravens, 6-3, coming off a dominant win against my Broncos. These Ravens have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've won 6 out of 7. The only loss there was the Jameis Browns game, where he revitalized the city. I don't know. I won't bet it. It's Baltimore minus 6.5. That just changed in front of my eyes. Ravens are my Super Bowl team. Bengals, I've counted them out. If they win, and the reason I won't bet this game, because you don't have to bet every game, especially if you're a sports fan like me. If the Bengals do win this, that'll be sick. Like, the Bengals hype train will be back. Joe Burr. And I love that. I think it's great for the game. Joe Burr is one of the best characters that the NFL has to offer in, like, the best way. Except I didn't like the blonde hair. Whatever. But that's one of the first Thursdays I think I've been like, let's watch that one. Let's watch that one. Which brings us to Sunday, and it starts out in Munich, Germany. The New York Football Giants play the Carolina Panthers. God, does it get any better? 9:30 a.m. I might push for the NFL to have a 9:30 a.m. game everywhere. I mean, it doesn't even have to be international. Like, why don't we just have a morning game? Dude, the 10 a.m. game every week? People would love that. The home teams would hate it, and the road team. But America would love it, and you'd be the most watched game besides the night games. Give me the NFL on the line. Giants, Panthers, yikes. Yikes. Which brings us to 1 p.m. My Broncos are facing the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 8-point favorites in Arrowhead. Something doesn't smell right here. The Chiefs were just 9-point favorites against the Bucks. Bucks took them to overtime and they won. Reminder, the Chiefs are undefeated. And I just think you got to believe in stuff in sports. This is their trap game before the Bills game that I've been teeing up for weeks now. That Broncos defense travels. The Chiefs still don't feel like they're fully clicking, although that last drive felt pretty dominant in OT. And they still do whatever they want. And DeAndre Hopkins with Patrick Mahomes feels like a difference maker. I'd bet my horsies and be scared, although I definitely have them losing that game. But that's the great game. But let's see if the Chiefs can stay undefeated going into Buffalo, because that'll be the first like NFL storyline. Like, that will be all the media talks about for a week. There's no World Series baseball. NBA has happened, but has it? Like, I don't know. I thought about watching a game tonight. We'll see. I'll let you know when I do. Patriots, Bears, no. Sorry, not on the Caleb train yet. No. Bills, Colts. Also kind of no. I mean, it feels like one of those weird ones. The Colts could find something. Bills are only favored by 4. It's on the road. It's in Indy. But yeah, I don't feel a need to watch that. Falcons, Saints, no. Also no. Saints fired their head coach. See what that looks like. Niners, Bucks is a sneaky yes. Niners coming off their bye week has them as 5.5-point favorites against this new Bucks team, which it sucks that Godwin and Evans got hurt, because everyone around football that I like to listen to is like, these Bucks really have something. They kind of have a nice running game. Bucky Irving is breaking out a little bit. I just think without those two weapons on the outside, the Niners coming in off the bye week, even though it's in Tampa. But I think that'll be a good watch. I think that's going to be a fun game. Whoo! 7-2 Commanders versus the 6-2 Steelers. Wow. Who had this coming into the year? Commanders are undefeated at home. The Steelers, I believe, coming off their bye week, coming in to face the Commanders. I think I just found my dog. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers defense coming off a bye week. The Commanders, they've had a couple scares the past couple weeks. The Bears, the Hail Mary game, they, should have lost that. The Giants last week ended up making it look close. The Washington, -2.5 favorites. I guess if I was giving out Jake's dog of the week, woof, woof. Give me Pittsburgh. Vikings, Jaguars, no. No offense. That takes us to the 4 p.m. slate. Chargers, Titans. I think the Chargers wagon is going to leave the station this weekend, and that's not just because I traded for their running back in fantasy. But they're 5-3. The Titans team, I mean, they're fighting from behind this time of year. Eagles, Cowboys, kind of a no. Although the Eagles with a chance to go 7-2 against a Cowboys team without Dak, that's really hurting. Yikes. Jets, Cardinals, yes. The Jets on this potential warpath to save their season. This is one of the big ones standing in the way. The 5-4 Arizona Cardinals, I believe, leading the division at 5-4. Host the Jets coming off that Texans win, a couple extra days of rest for them. Cardinals on a win streak. It basically has it as a pick'em. They have the Jets as a half-point favorite. They might be right. They might not be. You'd like to think Jets playing for their season gives them a slight advantage in that tilt. That is going to be a fun one to watch. Little Kyler running around and figuring it out while the Jets try to tooth and nail whatever they can. And their offensive weapons, if it does click, I mean, that catch by Garrett Wilson, Devontae had a couple big ones, Breece's pieces. That's going to be a fun game. And then it ends with another one. Lions-Texans. Your Sunday night game. Texans undefeated at home. Lions undefeated on the road. Texans coming off that loss to the Jets and missing their wide receivers, while the Lions, man, they've got this form of beautiful bully ball that they are just beating up teams. And whenever they set up the play, Goff's completion percentage is like 80% this year. But, man, the Texans coming off a loss. That's going to be a great Sunday night watch. Monday, Dolphins, Rams. Luckily, we'll talk to you before then. But NFL slate, it's a full one, and it's a good time for it because there's no more baseball. Bengals, Ravens, Thursday we're watching. Have breakfast and watch Giants, Panthers. Maybe not closely, but and then 1 p.m. Steelers, Commanders. I'm in on that. 4 p.m. I guess the Jets Cardinals feels a little less sexy. If you needed to skip it, you'd be okay. And then that night game of Texans Lions should be pretty fun. So let's buckle up for a big sports weekend. Appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you're subscribed and tell them about Uncle Dan.
Wicked Jake is a production of Dan Patrick Productions, John Boy Media, and Workhouse Media.